My husband and I play board games for fun pretty frequently. And usually at the end of a particularly interesting, enjoyable game, no matter who won, we're both thinking about different strategies to try next time. That's the way we should be operating with our chores. Hi, I'm Mystie Winckler, homemaker, homeschool mom of 5, grandma, and author of the book Simplified Organization: Learn to Love What Must Be Done. I'm hostess here at Simply Convivial because convivial means enjoying life together. And that's the kind of a hospitable atmosphere that we want to create in our homes. We build a convivial life without perfectionism or overwhelm by learning to love what must be done, organizing our attitudes, and walking in fruitful faithfulness. My goal is to equip as many women as possible to become engaged, competent, cheerful Christian homemakers. One way that I do that is hosting the Convivial Circle, a platform with courses and community and live meetups of engaged Christian homemakers who are learning and growing and sharing their work at home. Every week I host a live seminar, and I wanted to share a clip of one that we just did this month during our Baby Step Bingo Challenge. I shared in this session how thinking of our housework like a game can help us break out of negative thinking ruts and bad metaphors and become engaged with the work in front of us instead of trying to make it all come out the same all the time, some kind of weird consistency that's not really possible in family life. We can look at our house, we can look at our work like a game that we can strategize about and try again a different way the next time. I think you'll enjoy the thinking shift that this idea will give you. So grab a basket of laundry to fold and let's dig in. But when we are talking today about making chores a game, that's not just for kids. It's actually for ourselves as well. And having that kind of playful mindset about chores is so helpful. It's helpful when we are interacting with our kids about chores, but it's helpful for ourselves as well because we have a tendency to take ourselves too seriously, to take housework too seriously and get bogged down in the minutia, the repetition, and trying to figure everything out. And we end up getting bogged down in unrealistic goals like finishing. And we don't even know how to get out of those kind of unrealistic goals. And moving to even a brief time, like a month, of making chores a game helps snap us out of ourselves, helps us try something different and feel differently about doing the work, getting it done, and noticing that it's done. We actually focus more on what we have done rather than what's still left to do when we have that narrow focus of a bingo card. That's one of the effects of a baby step bingo, is recording that progress, counting that progress helps us shift our focus to the actual present moment and current state and our real actions rather than always keeping our sights on having everything done, doing all the things, and getting to some imagined endpoint where everything is once and for all finally done. We don't have to operate in that way. And when we are able to break apart those imagined supposed goals and actually start conceiving of chores as something that can be gamified, something that we can actually amuse ourselves with and laugh at ourselves about, that is a huge mindset shift. And we are more likely to be able to exercise strategy, but like strategy, like you're trying to win a game. Strategy that's engaged and interested in progress, and not just strategy. Okay, how can I come up with something that's going to allow me to be done, to be maximally efficient and treat myself like a machine? Not that kind of strategy, but like game strategy, like staring at the board saying, okay, here's the hand I was dealt. Here's the board in front of me and my resources. What can I do with this? That's a different kind of engagement with reality that is much more healthy and much more productive, but that is so difficult to bring about in our mindset. We tend to think of games as being fake, not real, but actually treating our chores like a game brings out the true nature of reality better than our self-serious systems, because reality isn't systematizable. Did I just make up that word? Reality isn't like a machine that you can just tune up and then have it chug along. We are not in reality like machines. And so like a board game type mindset when it comes to our housework is actually much more in tune with reality than some of our default metaphors. When we are talking about making chores a game, that doesn't mean that we're trivializing them or minimizing them or treating them in some kind of unnatural way. In reality, we're treating them more naturally, more in keeping with their nature and our nature. And we're paying more attention and actually having fun. But because we tend to think that fun and work don't go together, then we assume that turning something into a game is a contrived, forced situation. And we've trivialized even the concept of fun itself, where fun doesn't necessarily mean interesting. Fun is just pleasurable. And that's the wrong kind of fun. That's not actually satisfying fun if it's just mere pleasure, mere good feeling. Games are inherently satisfying. And so when we look at our housework, when we look at our responsibilities, when we look at our life and treat it like a strategy board game, we're actually breaking out of some of our more modernist, postmodernist assumptions about ourselves and reality. And we're like baby stepping our way closer to a healthy human way of functioning at all. Because in a board game, you are managing scarce resources and trying to get to some end goal, some kind of achievement, but it's not just being finished. Like when you're playing a game, you're not playing it. If it's a fun, enjoyable game, then you're not playing to finally end the game. Like, just like, how can I play my hand such that this game ends as fast as possible? But that's more the way we tend to treat our chores. Like, how can I play this in such a way that I don't even really have to play it at all? That's not a mindset for any kind of game, right? You actually enjoy playing a game, even though it has tension and hard choices. The hard choices are part of what makes the game fun, but the stakes are low enough that it is enjoyable. And sometimes we probably haven't even noticed what the stakes really are. And maybe we think they're higher than they are, or maybe we think there aren't actually any stakes at all. Or we try to convince ourselves the stakes are super high just to motivate ourselves, because we don't want to think, oh, tomorrow is another day. Tomorrow is another chance to try again. My husband and I play board games for fun. pretty frequently. And usually at the end of a particularly interesting, enjoyable game, no matter who won, we're both thinking about different strategies to try next time. That's the way we should be operating with our chores. Okay, that was one play. That was one game. What would I do differently next time? What should I try next? I wonder if I did this, if that would get me this different outcome. But we also know that the exact same situation is not going to reoccur exactly. There's always that element of chance and differing amount of resources. So that makes the different gameplays actually interesting. The games that are the exact same every time, like actually I think of chess this way. They're not, chess doesn't have to be the exact same way every time, but if you get two players play, like it can devolve into that. And we're like, okay, I have figured out the way to get to the end of this game fast with this player. And sometimes that's the way we treat chores and life and chores with our kids. But with the interesting games, the exact same scenario never recurs, although it's possible that it could. And so that's a part of what lends the interest and the intrigue. We wouldn't enjoy a game that is the exact same every single day. And yet somehow we tend to think that is what will happen if we get our routines set up and our habits set up just right. Then basically every day is going to be the exact same. We're going to get the exact same amount of stuff done. We'll just keep everything up. So there will not be variety. Everything will just be perfectly handled and clean all the time. That's the goal of a working home routine and set of personal habits and chore system. But if you think about that as in terms of a game, then that would just mean you would never want to play it again. We really want it to be such that, okay, if my routines and habits are perfectly optimized, then life will be boring. Is that really what we want? No, it's not what we're going to get because life is not boring. But sometimes we can accidentally set ourselves up to think that making life boring is what will happen when our chore system is working properly. And so then we get frustrated when something out of the ordinary happens, and now our whole system is broken. But it actually isn't broken at all. Just because things got out of hand one weekend and there's a little bit extra work on Monday or whatever, that's a part of the game. And so if we thought about it as a game, I think that would help us adapt and flex to the realities of family life so much better. Because really that idea of achieving sameness every day or every week, whatever the cycle is that you've set up, that is a mechanistic mindset that comes from thinking that everything just happens by rote and that humans should operate that way and our household should operate that way. But the routines and the chore systems are there to help us apply ourselves with engaged interest regularly, as in like recurringly, consistently, as in there are multiple times every day where we are paying attention and responding appropriately. But our call is to respond appropriately to the actual situation in front of us, not to make the situation in front of us always fit our system, our predetermined strategy. It'd be like sitting down to a game, and not Monopoly, that's another, not a real game, but sitting down to an interesting game that you know is going to take 2 hours to play and trying to decide before the first player makes a move, all the plays that you will make the whole game through. And then getting frustrated when by turn 5, someone else has done something that you didn't predict. And so now your whole plan is thrown off. That's not how you plan to play a board game. By plotting out every single move that you're going to make for the next 2 hours. You just generally pick, okay, this time, looking at what I have in front of me, I'm going to go for this strategy, or I'm going to try some like this. And then you try to work that based on the varying factors that come out. And the varying factors are what make the game interesting. So the routines are there to keep you coming back to the situation in an engaged, responsive way. They aren't like hardcore programs that are just run on autopilot. So for example, let's use a morning routine as an example. So in the morning routine, there is a time, and it doesn't have to be the exact same clock time, but in the morning, you will spend a certain amount of time doing kind of the same thing, but it doesn't necessarily have to be the exact same actions. If you would like weekly pep talks like this every week, then you belong in Convivial Circle, and we'd love to have you. Actually, we are just about to start Sweep and Smile, which is our most popular program. Through Sweep and Smile, we will spend 6 weeks developing not only a working cleaning plan for each one of our current situations, but also we will change how we think about our cleaning routines so that we can become engaged, competent, and cheerful in the good work of keeping up our house. The whole point of the program is not only to get better at cleaning your house, although we will do that. The point is also, along the way, to always repent, rejoice, repeat.